Myself, Dr. Al Jivaria. Yesterday I had taken cirrhosis part 1, in which we had covered alcoholic liver disease and general introductions about cirrhosis, their management, general signs symptoms of cirrhosis, and details about various alcoholic liver disease. In today's lectures, we will see in details of various non-alcoholic causes of cirrhosis. Coming to post-necrotic cirrhosis, here characteristic features is large irregular nodules. You can say macronodules, large irregular nodules with broad bands of connective tissue or broad bands of fibrotic septa. So in post-necrotic cirrhosis, macronodules, large irregular macronodules with broad bands of fibrous septa. Etiology for post-necrotic cirrhosis. Commonest one is viral hepatitis. This various hepatitis was already covered in a separate lectures. Then some other etiology for post-necrotic cirrhosis like drugs, chemical hepatotoxins, autoimmune hepatitis, and other inflammatory conditions. So we will see briefly about autoimmune hepatitis, then morphology of post-necrotic cirrhosis due to hepatitis. Coming to autoimmune hepatitis, as the name itself suggests, it is autoimmune conditions. It is a severe type of chronic hepatitis. So here chronic hepatitis, but severe types of unknown etiology or unknown cause that is associated with circulating autoantibodies and high level of serum immunoglobulins. That's why it is considered autoimmune measures. So here two types of autoimmune hepatitis, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is more common, accounts for 80% of cases. This type 1 is common in women younger than 40 years of age. This type 1 autoimmune hepatitis is associated with HLA-DRB1 gene. Here antibody dependent cell mediated cytotoxicity to hepatocyte membrane acyloglycoprotein receptors. So particular receptor acyloglycoproteins is becomes damaged by antibodies. Type 2 autoimmune hepatitis common in children between 2 to 14 years of age. Here antibodies to liver and kidney microsomes, that is known as anti-LKM antibodies, liver kidney microsomes. The target autoantigen is a P450 type drug metabolizing enzymes. So this one is cytochrome P450 microsomal enzymes, that is target for this particular anti-LKM antibodies. These both conditions, type 1 and type 2 autoimmune hepatitis, are associated with other autoimmune conditions like type 1 diabetes, autoimmune thyroiditis, which are associated with this autoimmune hepatitis. Okay, coming to pathology of post-necrotic cirrhosis. Grossly, here macronodules are present greater than 3 mm in size. They are irregular, some are smaller and some are larger in size. But almost all are greater than 3 mm in size. That's why they are called macronodular. Liver becomes small in size, less than 1 kg in weight, and on cut surface there is presence of scars. On microscopic examinations, in case of post-necrotic cirrhosis, in lobular architecture, presence of some surviving parenchyma. Otherwise, this lobular architecture is disturbed by variably sized macronodules, regenerating macronodules. Both type of fibrous septa are present between central vein and portal triad and between adjacent portal triads. Hepatic parenchyma show variably sized irregular regenerating nodules. Plus here presence of necrosis, inflammations. If inflammation is severe, there may be formations of lymphoid follicles and bile duct proliferations. So these are common findings in all types of cirrhosis, necrosis, inflammations plus bile duct proliferations. Diagrammatic gross pictures of macronodular cirrhosis greater than 3 mm in size. variably sized nodules. Some are smaller, some are larger. So here irregular macronodules. In micronodular cirrhosis, uniform micronodules less than 3 mm in size. While in macronodular cirrhosis, irregular nodules greater than 3 mm in size. Axillary cut surface of macronodular cirrhosis, variably sized nodules. Most of nodules are greater than 3 mm in size. Diagrammatic microscopic pictures, necrosis of hepatocytes. These are necrosed hepatocytes. Presence of chronic inflammatory cells, mononuclear inflammatory cells, and broad fibrous septa. Regenerating nodules, variably sized. Proliferation of bile ducts. If inflammation is severe, there is formation of lymphoid follicles. These both are lymphoid follicle formations due to severe inflammatory reactions. Clinical features of post-necrotic cirrhosis, young age groups, sign and symptoms of chronic active hepatitis, because commonest etiology is hepatitis, and usually this post-necrotic cirrhosis follows chronic active hepatitis. So sign and symptoms of chronic active hepatitis like tiredness, anorexia, nausea, intolerance to fatty foods, abdominal discomfort, pain in right upper quadrant regions, and jaundice. Then sign and symptoms of complications of cirrhosis like portal hypertension, liver failures. When associated with hepatitis B and C virus, there is more chances of development of hepatocellular carcinoma. So here hepatocellular carcinoma development is greater if this post-necrotic cirrhosis is associated with hepatitis B or hepatitis C virus. After post-necrotic cirrhosis, coming to biliary cirrhosis. So biliary is related to biles. Here chronic disorder characterized by clinical, biochemical and morphological features of long continued cholestasis. Stasis of bile, that is called cholestasis. So common features here is long continued cholestasis. Either intrahepatic and or extrahepatic origins. So here cholestasis may occur either due to intrahepatic bile ducts involvement or extrahepatic bile ducts involvements. Two types, primary is unknown etiology or autoimmune etiology. Usually in primary biliary cirrhosis, intrahepatic bile ducts are involved, while in secondary biliary cirrhosis, extrahepatic bile ducts are involved. These intrahepatic bile ducts are small in size, while extrahepatic bile ducts are larger in size. Secondary occurs due to prolonged mechanical obstructions of extrahepatic biliary patients. Coming to etiology for primary biliary cirrhosis, it is a complex, chronic, slowly progressive autoimmune liver disease that predominantly affects women. So primary biliary cirrhosis predominantly affects women, middle age groups, male to female ratio 1:9. It is thought to be triggered by environmental factor in genetically susceptible individuals. So some genes are also responsible, plus some environmental factors that trigger development of primary biliary cirrhosis. Familiar incidence, as I told you, some genetic or some genes are involved, polygenetic in nature, so familiar incidence is present. Presence of anti-mitochondrial antibodies. Here in definitions, autoimmune liver disease. That's why here presence of anti-mitochondrial antibodies. Predominantly T lymphocyte mediated destructions of small intrahepatic bile ducts occurs. So in primary biliary cirrhosis, autoimmune mediated anti-mitochondrial antibody causes T cell mediated, T lymphocyte mediated destructions of small intrahepatic bile ducts, while in secondary there is involvement of extrahepatic larger size bile ducts. Pathological changes grossly hepatomegaly, because here there is cholestasis, that's why initially hepatomegaly. On cut surface, nodules are present, either micronodules, or if this condition is advanced, then there is presence of macronodules. So micro or macronodules present on cut surface depending on the advancement of the conditions, plus bile stainings. Here cut surface, or even you can see on outer surface, yellowish greenish tinge, yellowish greenish color. This occurs due to cholestasis. On microscopic examinations, chronic non-suppurative destructive cholangitis, inflammations of small intrahepatic bile ducts, cholangitis. This occurs by chronic inflammatory cells, non-suppurative. There are 4 stages of this primary biliary cirrhosis. In stage 1, florid bile duct regions occurs due to inflammations. Stage 2, after inflammations, various cytokines generated, they causes proliferations of bile ducts leading to ductular proliferations. After ductular proliferations, certain cytokines as well as involvement of stellate cells leading to fibrous scar or excessive fibrous tissue deposition. Ultimately, there is formations of micronodules leading to cirrhosis. And if these conditions get advanced, then there is conversion of this micronodule into macronodular cirrhosis. Microscopic picture stage wise. In stage 1, as I told you, inflammations, especially non-suppurative inflammations, chronic mononuclear cell infiltrations around bile ducts, intrahepatic bile ducts. So inflammatory reactions and cytokine conversions. These cytokines causes proliferations of these bile ducts leading to stage 2. Excessive proliferations of bile ducts. These all are proliferating bile ducts. Stage 3, there is excessive depositions of fibrotic tissue. So here fibrous band formations around ducts are seen. And in stage 4, there is development of micronodular cirrhosis. Diagrammatic microscopic pictures, micronodule, fibrous septa, bile duct proliferations, and chronic inflammatory cells infiltrations, mononuclear cell infiltrations within and around bile ducts. This leads to cholangitis, excessive fibrosis. Here within micronodules, there is bile plugs. So periseptal or periportal nodular hepatocytes shows presence of bile plugs. This occurs due to cholestasis. Coming to second etiology for biliary cirrhosis, primary sclerosing cholangitis. It is an idiopathic cholestatic hepatobiliary disease characterized by chronic inflammations, progressive fibrosis, and stricturing of medium and large size extrahepatic and or intrahepatic bile ducts. In contrast to primary biliary cirrhosis, here usually involvement is of extrahepatic larger size bile ducts. Otherwise, there is similar morphology, chronic inflammation, that's why it leads to cholangitis, progressive fibrosis. Due to involvement of extrahepatic larger and medium-sized ducts, here there is segmental bile duct dilatations proximal to the area of stricture, creates a characteristic cholangiographic appearance of beadings. So when we do cholangiography, radiological investigations, typical beading appearance presents due to stricture as well as proximal dilatations of large and medium-sized extrahepatic bile ducts. Chronic inflammation leads to fibrosis of hepatic parenchyma and biliary tree, more common in male. In primary biliary cirrhosis, predominantly it affects women, while primary sclerosing cholangitis more common in male. So male to female ratio 2:1. Any age group can be affected. This primary sclerosing cholangitis is associated with ulcerative colitis. So in 70% of patients there is coexistent ulcerative colitis. Pathological changes grossly characteristic bleeding of extrahepatic bile ducts due to irregular strictures and dilatations. Microscopic examinations here fibrosing cholangitis with lymphocytic infiltrations, chronic inflammatory cell infiltrations by lymphocytes, and fibrosis of large and medium-sized bile ducts. Onion skin periductal fibrosis, excessive fibrosis in a sequential stage leading to onion skin-like appearance on microscopic examinations. Intervening dilated bile ducts, cholestasis as well as biliary cirrhosis also seen. This one is bile ducts and typical onion skin periductal fibrosis. So this one is typical findings in case of primary sclerosing cholangitis, periductal onion skin fibrosis. Coming to secondary biliary cirrhosis, develops due to long-term partial or total obstructions of large bile ducts outside the liver. So in secondary, also extrahepatic bile ducts are involved. Here chronic cholestasis leading to cirrhosis, same mechanisms in all conditions. Etiology for secondary biliary cirrhosis, biliary atresia, cystic fibrosis, gallstones, carcinoma of pancreatic head or biliary tree, choledochal cyst, Ehlers-Danlos syndromes and post-surgical strictures. All etiology that leads to obstructive jaundice, they can lead to secondary biliary cirrhosis. So etiology is of obstructive jaundice. Pathological changes, gross pictures. Here as cholestasis occurs, that's why bile stasis within liver parenchyma, formations of bile racks, inflammations of bile ducts leading to cholangitis, progressive expansions of portal tracts by fibrosis. Cut surface of secondary biliary cirrhosis, these are dilated bile ducts. Here there is bile plugs within dilated bile ducts. They appear on microscopic as a bile leg. So bile plugs within dilated bile ducts and excessive fibrosis around dilated bile ducts. These are fibrosis, excessive fibrosis around dilated bile ducts. This excessive fibrosis causes compressions on this parenchymal tissue leading to cirrhosis. Actual microscopic pictures, regenerating nodules, and here excessive fibrotic band. These all are fibrous tissue containing bile ducts, and this bile ducts contains yellowish brown bile stasis or bile plugs. So bile ducts containing bile plugs, excessive fibrosis and regenerating nodules. Clinical pictures of biliary cirrhosis, insidious onset, or the sign and symptoms of obstructive jaundice like persistent pruritus, dark urines, pale stool. Here obstructions occur, that's why in urine there is presence of bile pigments leading to dark urines. Due to cholestasis, less amount of bile enter into GI tracts leading to pale stool. Steatorrhea, fat malabsorptions due to lack of biles leading to steatorrhea, jaundice and skin pigmentations. So sign and symptoms of obstructive jaundice. On laboratory investigations, earliest there is increase in serum alkaline phosphatase enzymes. Also there is increase in serum lipids, and due to increase in serum lipids, there is formations of xanthomas and xantheresma. These xanthoma are subcutaneous nodules containing lipid-laden foamy cells or lipid-laden foam macrophages. That is nodules within subcutaneous tissue. Xantheresma is a plaque on eyelids, yellowish plaque on eyelids due to lipid accumulations. Death usually occurs due to hepatic failures or bleedings or associated infections, concomitant development of carcinoma of rivers. After biliary cirrhosis, coming to Indian childhood cirrhosis. It is a fatal disorder largely restricted to preschool children. So age group here is 1 to 4 years. Preschool children, 1 to 4 years age group. Death occurs due to hepatic failures within 1 year of diagnosis. Fatal disorders. So death occurs within 1 year. The etiology and pathogenesis of Indian childhood cirrhosis are not well understood. Various suggestions or various hypotheses are present, like some familiar incidents occurs, that's why familiar cases have been reported, but no hereditary patterns have been established. So exact genetic mutations or exact hereditary pattern doesn't establish. That's why here there is unknown etiology for Indian childhood cirrhosis. Marked excess of copper and copper binding protein in livers. So it may be due to excessive copper ingestions during early infancy resulted in hepatic copper overloads in Indian childhood cirrhosis. So second etiological factor is excessive copper ingestions during infancy. Associated factors like use of copper vessels for storage of water, milks and for boiling milks. That's why more amount of copper comes into diet, leading to accumulations of copper within liver parenchyma, leading to Indian childhood cirrhosis. So these all are hypotheses which may lead to Indian childhood cirrhosis. Clinical features: low-grade fever, jaundice, vague gastrointestinal symptoms, abdominal distensions, hepatosplenomegaly, progressive fetal liver insufficiency. Death occurs as a result of progressive bleedings or overwhelming bacterial infections. Pathological changes in Indian childhood cirrhosis, similar to alcoholic hepatitis. All changes, right? Ballooning degenerations, Mallory bodies or alcoholic hyaline bodies, fatty changes, but without fatty changes. In alcoholic hepatitis, there is presence of fatty changes. In Indian childhood cirrhosis, without fatty changes. So one differentiating feature here is without fatty changes. Inflammatory cells infiltrate present in both these conditions. Pericellular fibrosis, which is also present in alcoholic hepatitis. One particular characteristic feature is depositions of copper. So here morphological feature is similar to alcoholic hepatitis except without fatty changes, plus there is presence of depositions of copper. This one is Pasteur stains or Sen stains to detect copper binding proteins. Here in Indian childhood cirrhosis, there is excessive depositions of copper as well as copper binding proteins within hepatocytes. So we perform Orserine stains to detect Orserine binding proteins, copper binding proteins within hepatocytes. Coming to cardiac cirrhosis, here hepatic disorders that occurs secondary to hepatic congestions due to cardiac dysfunctions, especially the right heart chambers. So right side heart failures leading to hepatic disorders, that is called cardiac cirrhosis. Cardiac etiology, involvement of liver. Common causes for right side heart failures: valvular disease, severe pulmonary hypertension, pulmonary biventricular heart failure, pericardial disease, cardiac tamponade and constrictive pericarditis. Pathophysiology, whenever there is right ventricular dysfunctions, here there is increased retrograde pressure on the hepatic veins and sinusoids leading to intrahepatic edema, and due to intrahepatic edema, pressure which produce decreased perfusions and oxygen diffusions into hepatocytes, hemorrhagic injury and modifications on the hepatocyte architectures, ultimately atrophy with associated collagen depositions and fibrosis, and regenerations of hepatic nodules leading to cirrhosis. Clinical features of cardiac cirrhosis: signs and symptoms of heart failure like shortness of breath, leg swellings, pedal edema, paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, orthopnea, and jugular venous distensions. Signs and symptoms of cirrhosis or liver dysfunctions: right upper quadrant abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, jaundice, hepatomegaly, abdominal distension, and ascites. Pathological changes in case of cardiac cirrhosis: on gross examinations only, there is hepatomegaly with a variegated mottled appearance reflecting hemorrhage and necrosis in the centrilobal regions. This findings is known as nutmeg rivers. So here zone 3 is initially involved. centrilobular regions of hepatocytes are involved, and these hepatocytes are studded with excessive red blood cells, plus there is necrosis of zone 3 hepatocytes. So this early features is typically suggest of chronic venous congestion of river, nutmeg river. Whenever there is persistence of etiological factors, there is development of cirrhosis leading to river shrinkage with micronodule formations, scarring and fibrosis. On microscopic examinations, initially ceviche of river showing central hemorrhagic necrosis of zone 3 hepatocytes, sharp demarcations of viable periporters and necrotic or atrophic pericentral hepatocytes. Later there is cardiac sclerosis. Here centrilobular fibrosis with central lignin fibrosis septa. That is called cardiac sclerosis. Nutmeg rivers, cut surface. Microscopic pictures of cardiac sclerosis or cardiac cirrhosis. These are lobules. Here rearrangement of lobules occurs. Normally in lobules there is centrally placed central veins, and here there is Porter triads. But in cardiac cirrhosis, here there is presence of Porter triads or Porter tracts, and central veins are present at the peripheral portions. So this hemorrhagic area is peripheral portions around central veins. Higher power view, Porter tracts and hemorrhagic necrosis of zone 3 hepatocytes around central veins. So rearrangement of nodules. Coming to Wilson's disease, autosomal recessive disorder caused by mutations in a particular genes known as ATP7B genes. Due to mutations into these genes, here there is impaired copper excretions into biles and a failure to incorporate copper into celluloplasmin. Both things occurs. Copper doesn't excrete into biles, and whatever copper accumulates within hepatocytes, they doesn't bind with celluloplasmin. This celluloplasmin is a copper binding proteins. If they bind with these celluloplasmins, then they get extracted from hepatocytes into circulations. Accumulations of toxic level of copper in many tissue and organs, particularly liver, brain and eyes. So common organs involved in Wilson's disease are liver, brain and eye. Mutations into ATP7B genes, deficiency of ATP7B proteins, decrease in copper transport into biles, impels its incorporations into celluloplasmins, inhibits celluloplasmin secretions into blood. Ultimately, copper accumulates in the rivers and a decrease in circulating celluloplasmin. Copper causes toxic liver injury by three mechanisms, promoting the formations of free radicals by Fenton reactions. So in Fenton reactions, hydrogen peroxide is get converted into hydroxyls, and this hydroxyl is a highly toxic free radicals. This copper promotes Fenton reactions, so more amount of hydroxyl generations occurs, and this hydroxyl is more toxic, binding to sulfidyl groups of cellular proteins. Third mechanism is displacing other metals from hepatic metalloenzymes. Clinical features of Wilson's disease: triad of cirrhosis of liver, involvement of brains, bilateral degenerations of basal ganglia. So various neurological sign symptoms occurs due to involvement of brains, involvement of eye, greenish brown pigmented rings in the rhombus of cornea, that is known as Kayser-Fleischer rings. Age group 5 to 30 years. Initially jaundice, later neuropsychiatric signs and symptoms due to involvement of brains, and ultimately various signs and symptoms of cirrhosis as well as complications of cirrhosis occurs. Diagnosis: serum ceruloplasmin reduce, hepatic copper increase, increased urinary excretions of copper. Serum copper level may be low, normal or high depending on the stage of disease. On histopathological examinations of the tissue, microscopic pathology, fatty changes, acute and chronic, active hepatitis, submassive liver necrosis, and macronodular cirrhosis. Special stains to detect coppers within hepatocytes, rhodamine stains. So here excessive accumulations of copper within hepatocytes. Rhodamine stains to detect coppers within hepatocytes. Coming to hemochromatosis. Hemochromatosis is characterized by excessive iron accumulations in parenchymal organs such as liver, pancreas and heart. So here common organs involved are liver, pancreas and heart. Iron is directly toxic to the cells of these organs and stimulate fibrosis. That's why cirrhosis also occurs in case of hemochromatosis, because iron is a toxic to hepatocytes, plus iron also stimulates excessive fibrous depositions. Two types of hemochromatosis: hereditary hemochromatosis and secondary hemochromatosis. This secondary hemochromatosis is also called as hemosiderosis. Causes for secondary hemochromatosis: either increased parenteral intake of ions by blood transfusions or increased oral ingestions of iron. Coming to hereditary hemochromatosis, autosomal recessive disorders. Here mutations present into SFE genes. This gene is present on chromosome 6p, short arm of chromosome 6. Mutation in SFE genes affects liver, heart, pancreas, joint linings or synovial linings, endocrine glands, skin. Can lead to cirrhosis, cardiomyopathy, pancreatic destructions, and due to pancreatic destructions diabetes may occur, that is called bronch diabetes, arthritis and bronch skin. Increased risk of hepatocellular carcinoma because excessive iron depositions within hepatocytes. So whenever there is cirrhosis, and if this cirrhosis is associated with excessive iron depositions or it is associated with hepatitis C or hepatitis B virus, there is increased chances of hepatocellular carcinoma. Morphology of hereditary hemochromatosis: grossly early changes. Liver is typically slightly larger than normal, dense and chocolate brown in colors. With disease progressions, liver becomes small, shrunken, dark brown to black in colors with micronodular pattern of cirrhosis and presence of fibrous septa. Dark brown colors of liver, early stage. Microscopic morphology of hereditary hemochromatosis: early changes. Here there is hemosiderin depositions in periportal hepatocytes. Zone 1 involvement, periportal hepatocytes. Hemosiderin depositions. With disease progressions, hemosiderin depositions in the rest of lobules, that means zone 2 and zone 3 involvements. Also hemosiderin depositions in bile ducts and Kupffer cells. Plus there is development of fibrous septa and regenerating nodules leading to micronodular cirrhosis. Gold standard for diagnosis is quantitative iron analysis on liver biopsy. Quantitative iron analysis on liver biopsy. Microscopic pictures of hemochromatosis: routine hematoxin and eosin stains showing intrahepatic accumulations of hemosiderins. Yellowish golden brown colors, granular depositions, hemosiderin depositions within hepatocytes. Facial stains, Prussian blue stains, blue reactions. Detects presence of hemosiderin within hepatocytes. Thank you.